Hey there, this is Trisha with Easy E-mini Trade, and I'm just going to do a quick look at today using the Ichimoku, today being Monday, the 23rd of December. And if you're interested, doing an Ichimoku webinar on Monday, the 30th of December at 4 p.m., and that's a Monday, like I said. If you're busy because of the holidays and so forth, no worries. I will be recording it, so everyone who registers will get the recording and the slides. Okay, so let me just give you a quick look at this morning on a couple of the instruments. So I've got NQ on a 1 minute. I'm not suggesting that you trade using a 1 minute or a 5 minute or 15. Use whatever you like. But, chop is chop is chop. Doesn't matter what size chart you're looking at it on. And the screen line that you see down here is the high from Friday. And then just FYI, this morning pre-market, we hit new all-time highs on NQ, YM, and ES. And of course, this is, a couple days before Christmas. So, we don't typically expect a whole lot of volume coming in or a lot of movement. But, if you're willing to sit there and wait for your setups, whatever they may be, sometimes you're rewarded for it. So when it's not got a very strong direction, like here's where we opened right here. And so if you look at where we opened here at 9:30 and where, we traded most of the morning, no real direction, right? So those types of days you can do range trades, short resistance, buy support. But for the sake of the explanation on Ichimoku, we're using the cloud. So cloud is going to tell us support and resistance. The Chico line is one of my favorite components. That's this blue one here. And this is always plotting 36 periods behind price. So it's telling us our past, as is the cloud. The cloud is giving us areas of support and resistance. So you can see this little area here where it's holding the cloud. So that's a support area. And if you draw your support resistance areas, if you look back here, you can even see that that is an area that created some resistance, so now likely support. So this is kind of doing the work for you. Now, so let's say that you were looking, this is right now 12:25 my time Eastern, but let's say that you were thinking, okay, when this closes below the cloud here, I want to take a short. Now, realistically, that is a setup, but what this is telling us is that yes, it may close below the cloud and then you can look for shorts. Now, I don't worry about the color of the cloud being red or green. There are people that will call it a cloud twist or Seneca twist. I'm not too concerned about that. I don't care if the cloud is green or red, honestly. And it's just a matter of the Seneca A and B line where they are in relation to each other. But anyway, so if I was looking at this as a short, you could see this Chico line coming into that cloud. That's not ideal for taking a short. So let's say we were going to short under this candle here. So 31.75 is the low of this candle that closed under the cloud. So if you wanted to take an entry, a tick, let's say under that, what you would be paying attention to is you would watch this Chico line to trade down to the lower end of the cloud, because this now can come down to the cloud here and hold that as support. And you'll find it's it's very awesome how it works. It's like, I'm going to say magic. I know that sounds ridiculous, but if this were going to go lower here, you would like to see this Chico line trading through the cloud. So if you decide to take this short, you're going to be aware that the Chico line is in the middle of the cloud. Anything that happens in the cloud is generally a chop area, just FYI. So if this is going to go lower, you're going to want to see this Chico line trade through the cloud here. Otherwise, this can go lower here, but you will watch for that Chico line to tag that cloud and bounce off. If it does, then you're going to find that price will be bouncing as well. Now, we've got the Kijin line, which is the purple line right here, and then we've got the Tikin line, which is the red line. And a lot of people will take those as a cross when the red crosses above the purple or the red crosses below the purple. To me, that's not as powerful, in my opinion. it's the, typically like when you're looking at a moving average crossover, sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. But if you use that in relation to the areas where the cloud is and that Chico line, then it can be something that you can do. If you have a very strong move higher and you're looking for a way in, you can look for like a flat area on that Kijun line and buy a bounce off that. So that's another option as well. But here's what I was talking about that cloud. Can you see how it attempted lower, but this still not trading through the cloud here? And, just support and resistance 101, if you look back here and you have this congested area here, without even knowing anything about the cloud, price is likely going to react in this area just because of how long it, basically got stuck there. So when the Chico line comes down to this area here, basically that is hitting support right there. So let me just scroll back a little bit and I'll show you a couple things from this morning. Again, not a great moving day directional wise. We're basically sideways. But here, for example, remember at the time, let me get rid of this support line. The Chico line is 26 periods behind us. So let's say that you were going to take this short when it closed below the cloud here and right here. And you already know you've got Friday's high there, so you already know you've got support there. At that time, if we count back 26 periods, so if we count back, so let's see, looks like the Chico line would be right here. So Chico line is below price, so we have what we need here, but we still would watch for that support area. So what you're going to find is that would have to be your target area. But another way you can use that Chico line is, so at the time, this is where it was plotting. If you see that Chico line is breaking this high from Friday, then this has a good chance of trading lower to the next area of support. So here you can see it bounces off of Friday's high here, that green line, and then you see here getting a close above the cloud here. So right here you can see it closing above the cloud. This is about where the Chico line is at the time, so it's above price, so that's ideal. But what we're going to want to be aware of is when it gets to that cloud area again, can it get through? So if it can get through the cloud, then realistically price is going to, you're going to find, move higher. So realistically, where this is hitting the cloud here, remember the cloud is representing support and resistance areas. So when the Chico line is hitting the cloud here, that basically is falling in line with this area back here where price was hitting and pulling back, hitting, pulling back, hitting, pulling back, hitting, pulling back. So if you took this buy above the cloud right here, then you would be, again, watching for that Chico line hitting that cloud. If it can't get through, then you take your profit up wherever price is at that time. If it can get through, then you can move your stop and trail it higher. So again, not a great moving day, but at least you can kind of see what the gist is using the cloud. Also, I'll point this out here. As price trades higher here, and here, so basically retracement back up to resistance, right? And at the time, the Chico line was, where was it? It was probably right here. So Chico line back here, so it's under price. So you can see that we're getting a bounce up to the cloud, and you can see the Chico line, this is where it was plotting at the time, the blue one, hits this area on this candle and pulls back off of that. So that would be, if we had a moving market or you wanted to short off resistance, moving market meaning if it was moving lower and you were looking for a retracement to that cloud is the equivalent of a retracement up to a resistance area. So if you wanted to take that, you would want to see that Chico line being below price, which it was at the time right here. And then we look down to the support area being, once again, the high from Friday. Retracement here again. So where was the Chico line at that time? Looks like it was right about here. So you can see it trades up doesn't manage to get above price, so still stays, right on that price candle right here, and pulls back off of that. So when you see it pulling back off of that candle and you see that you're hitting resistance up here, you can short and anticipate it trading down to support. Again, it would have taken you a while for it to get to support. It's just that kind of day. But that Chico line and the cloud are my two favorite components of that Ichimoku. And so here, going back to current, you can see it retraces back up to this cloud here, moves lower, and price holds that candle, the cloud here. And at the time, this was still inside the cloud, and so giving room down to the low here of the cloud. If you took the short here, you would have been watching for that Chico line to break through when it finally did. And then you'd be looking at the area of support again. And so again, if you look at the cloud back here, wherever the cloud is, that will be a support and resistance area from previously, right? If you look at the cloud here, you can see that represents here. So it's always going to be very telling in where past support resistance areas are, and then where future areas are. Okay, so I hope that's helpful. I will do more explanation during the webinar. And if you put this on a 5-minute, same thing, just a lot less movement off the cloud, which, it's like I said, it's just that type of day. But you can use the 5-minute as well. But if it's not going anywhere, you can always use something smaller. If it's very volatile, you can always use something bigger. Okay, you guys, enjoy your holiday, and I will chat with you all later. And if you want more info on the Ichimoku webinar, just go to my site, Easy E-mini Trade, and click on the upcoming webinar tab. Enjoy, you guys.